I was born in Los Angeles, California, 1981, so dating myself there. My parents went out, they went on a date, and so there were these girls that lived in our apartment complex, and my mom asked one the girls to come and to babysit me and my brother. There were two sisters, and one in particular just kind of took me off aside and just did things to me that made me feel like, like, am I participating in this but essentially what happened was I didn't know how to tell my parents because it was so embarrassing. And what would they think of me? And then, I would get in trouble, and I was supposed to trust these girls because, they were there to babysit me. So I didn't want to tell on them. And that caused me to be confused about things. And it kind of like, it awakened something in me that I didn't really know how to process through. And I took a lot of shame from that, a lot of guilt. I always just wanted to be out with the boys. I'd like to wrestle and climb the trees, and I just didn't feel like I was a girl, I guess. Well, I remember once, and this must have been like in second grade, the girls said, "You're kind of cute," and I was all, "Oh, that like they're saying something nice about me." Kids are so mean. But I remember one girl said, "Yeah, you're cute like a boy." And so she didn't mean to like compliment me. She was actually trying to tease me. And so that really hurt me because I didn't want to be cute like a boy. Deep inside, I wanted to be pretty like all the other girls, but never felt pretty or never felt like, I just felt lesser, like not part of something that I'm supposed to be a part of. And so boys are pretty rough. They don't care. They just want to go out and have fun. So it was easier just to identify with them and do the things that they were doing. Just being around other kids, I just immediately, I knew I wasn't like the girls. I wasn't like them. I couldn't relate to them, and I found myself attracted to them early on. And I didn't know what to do with that, so I just kind of kept it quiet and tried to process it in my mind as a young child. And you're getting into adolescence. It sort of plays out where you see the girls, they're kissing the boys, and at this point, people, kids are experimenting. And I just was really reluctant to do that because I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like, you're holding this secret in and you don't want anyone to find you out, It just caused a lot of anxiety. I remember 12, 13, being completely depressed and just not being able to make friends for fear of they might find out how weird I am. I would come home from school and I would just start crying. And my mom would try to console me, but she just didn't have the answer. She didn't know what to say or what to do, and and I didn't open up to her. So, but there were a lot of days where I would come home and I would just feel so lonely, and just cry, and just have to cry on my mom. I did love the Lord. I was trying to pursue Jesus, and had a close relationship with him, but I didn't know, how do you reconcile these feelings? How would I reconcile the feelings that I have inside of me? How do I pursue him and deal with this? So I didn't really know what to do with that. And when you don't get your questions answered for a long time, and being so young, so charged, I think I just kind of gave into my desires, and I felt pretty sure that that was who I was. I had a girlfriend. It was probably my first girlfriend. And I met her in youth group. I wanted to be loved by another woman. I wanted to feel like another girl thought I was pretty. Another girl wanted to be around me, felt value in me. So I got that. I got that from the girlfriend. I just thought she was so pretty, and really smart and popular, and everybody loved her. Everything that I was looking for, I was getting in that relationship. I needed to find a way out of my father's house, and I needed an escape. So because I knew if I was going to choose to live this life, it definitely wasn't going to be underneath my parents' roof. So the military was a way for me to kind of escape and make some of my own choices. So 7 years after I joined the military, my unit deploys to Iraq. It's a small city called Mosul, also known as this modern-day Nineveh. there were just a lot of hard things to see in Iraq, given the war situation. And I particularly had a hard day, and I had seen just the casualties of war, and I had seen the effects on the children, and I think that really is what got to me. Came back to my room, armor off, took armor off, threw my M16 on the floor, just kind of laid before the Lord, just vulnerable. And I just had a cry out where I had to say, Lord, I know I have not been living for you. I believe in you, and I have not been living for you. And I feel like Jesus is literally in the room with me, and that my memory was turned back to scripture where he says that he will take the heart of stone and he will give us a heart of flesh. And I felt like in that moment, I had a heart of flesh. It was soft, and I just really wanted to come back to my first love. And I remember just crying out and saying, Lord, if you will have me back, if it's okay to try plan A, because I've been doing it my way this whole time, it just has not been working. And so I wanted to come back. So in the military back then, you did not talk about, if you were living an alternative lifestyle. You just did not. You don't ask and you don't tell. That was the policy. So the first time I ever meet Private Lockhart, all I can think of, this guy is trouble. And so I just need to stay away from him. He was the guidon bearer, and he's the guy that marched out in the front, and he was always the captain's favorite. Smart, really smart. But I felt safe to confide in him. So he knew early on. I never hid anything from him, and he was safe to be real with. He wasn't really shaken by it. He didn't have a reaction. And so I was kind of like, all right, well, if that doesn't scare you away, I guess we could be friends. So we did build a friendship. I felt like I could trust him. I did not go to war with any expectation I was going to find love. That would be the last thing on my mind, especially because mostly I was surrounded by guys. So flashing forward and coming home, I said, I'm gonna give this a try. I think it would be nice to just go on some dates and take things slow. And so we dated, and but it wasn't just that, we sparked and it worked, but he gave his life over to the Lord, and he pursued after the Lord. I think he maybe even harder than I did. And so he really led the way back, and we got involved in ministry, and in 2010, we ended up getting married. I knew that I was not making a mistake, but there's still that human element where you're like, Lord, you're going to have to help me. You're going to have to do this. I don't know how to be a wife. I think I barely know how to be a lady. So I just remember really taking a step of faith, not knowing if this marriage would pan out or I wouldn't go back. And I honestly really just took a step of faith, and I knew that I knew for a fact that the Lord had brought this relationship together. And so when I took my vows, I was excited and nervous all at once, and just kind of really relying on the Lord to show me how to be a wife. But I have never felt more satisfied, so at rest, and so at peace than I ever have, so filled with joy, real joy. I'm not talking about, well, we're having fun right now for the moment. I mean, this is a lasting joy than I ever have in all of my life.